Hey, truth seekers, welcome back. Zach here. Last video for today, February 10th, before I go back to finishing the book I'm writing for the rest of the day. Michael, one of my most dedicated followers, asked if I could please do a video on why Chuck Norris met with Netanyahu in Israel this past Wednesday, February 8th. And what I'm going to show you is why this happened on February 8th, how this was no doubt a Masonic ritual. Chuck Norris, a Christian Zionist. Israel, the Zionist state. So notice, February 8th, as we write it in the US, that's 2/8, looking something like 28. In Gematria, Israel sums to 28. The emphasized quote is that Israel is strong, but it's indestructible now. Kind of an interesting quote. Why isn't it Israel is strong and indestructible now? Why but? Perhaps he spoke wrong. But there's a reason that those words are emphasized in the headline. We're going to get to it. The words, though, they remind me of the history of Israel, biblical Israel, the destruction of the two temples. Because, what's he speaking to? He's saying Israel's strong, it's indestructible. Israel has a biblical history of destruction. So there's a reason this story comes February 8th. Let's get to it. Israel in Gematria, again, sums to 28. The Jewish Day of Remembrance for the destruction of the two temples in Israel, biblical times, Tisha B'Av also has Gematria of 28. And again, this story comes from 2/8, a Wednesday. 28, if you didn't know, in mathematics is a perfect number. That means all of the numbers that divide into 28, when you add them together, sum to 28. 28, a perfect number. Not many perfect numbers, 28, one of few. The word indestructible also has gematria of 62, like Torah, like Mason. The reason we know Chuck Norris is a Freemason is because he's in Hollywood. You can't go to Hollywood and find someone who's not in the clique. Israel, Zionism, Freemasonry, all interconnected. I want to point out that Israel's leader's name, Netanyahu, has gematria of 37. Israel also shares the gematria of 37, as does Tisha B'Av. The emphasized word here is strong. Strong in regards to Israel, coming from Chuck Norris. In case you're new to my channel, I have exposed how since the beginning, everything in Israel's history has been the number 93. Strong equals 93, like the name Norris. We're talking about Chuck Norris. Israel's missile defense system, paid for by the U.S., is called the Iron Dome 93. 93 is the number for Saturn, the keeper of time. Israel was drawn up on the date September 3rd, 1947, 9/3. Notice yesterday's date had 47 numerology. Saturn equals 93. Saturn's the keeper of time. Time equals 47. Israel was drawn up 9/3, September 3rd, in the year 47. Israel, a nation that came to exist on propaganda that was pushed on the people of the world for decades, well before World War II. The propaganda of 6 million Jews dying, a lie that was told in the world's papers for decades before the supposed Holocaust, which is another lie. Israel exists because of that lie out of World War II propaganda. As they say, the first casualty in war is the truth. Israel's Congress is called Knesset, which equals 93. Their current speaker is Edelstein, 93. This past year, we saw Israel's former prime minister die at age 93. There was a funeral for him on September 30th, 9/30. The day before that, September 29th, that's the day the world leaders gathered in Israel. September 29th is the day that leaves 93 days left in the year. September 29th is interesting. In the U.S., we write it 9/29. In the Old Testament, which the Jewish faith goes by, there's 929 chapters. The Old Testament's 39 books, 39 the reflection of 93. World leaders gathering in Zionist Israel, the Jewish Zionist state, on the day that leaves 93 days left in the year, 929 chapters, you see? Again, for the fallen 93-year-old prime minister. I want to point out that September 11th, our own government, our own media let us know that there were people from Israel in New Jersey arrested that day who were dancing and filming the attack. They were sent back to Israel, where they went on their own TV and said that they came to America to document September 11th, meaning they had foreknowledge. Our own government let us know that. Our own media let us know that right after the attack, and they've just put it in front of our face as if, oh well. Look at this. The World Trade Centers. Remember, there was the 93 World Trade Center bombing? Then on the date of 9/11, there was flight 93 of 33 passengers. The first plane to hit the big buildings in New York, the 11th state, the World Trade Centers look like giant 11s. The first flight to hit those buildings was Flight 11. Flight 11 hit floors 93 through 99 on September 11th in the 11th state, hitting the buildings that look like big 11s. The word Jew equals 11, the master number in numerology. Numerology, gematria, very important to the Jewish mysticism known as Kabbalah. Anyhow, the new building that stands where the World Trade Center was is called One World Trade Center. One World Trade Center equals 93. New York equals 39. Everything in New York is 39. The United Nations there is 39 floors tall, plus a million other things. Just covered that in yesterday's video about Charles Oakley getting arrested in New York on the 39th day of the year. A year earlier, the Knicks fired Derek Fisher on that day. Anyway, One World Trade Center is 1,776 feet tall, like this nation's birth. 17 plus 76 is 93. One World Trade Center is 104 stories tall. 7/4/1776, a date with 104 numerology. Jerusalem equals 104 with a USA right in the middle. One World Trade Center, 93. You see? 104 stories, 1,776 feet. Whoops. Hey, there we go. All right, so Jerusalem, with the USA right in the middle, has the gematria of 104. Jerusalem also has the same gematria as America, and 7/4/1776 has 104 numerology as well as 32. The U.S. was created once upon a time by Jewish bankers as part of an ongoing New World Order, Jewish World Order agenda, which is still ongoing. And this is how it's always been run, by the numbers. And these people pay tribute to everything by the numbers, a specific set of numbers. Chuck Norris, the name that we know this man by, has gematria 58, like We the People, like Freemasonry, like Secret Society, like United States. Freemasonry Zionism is the network. I noticed Chuck Norris, his military career began in 58. Israel. Notice, Israel in Jewish gematria sums to 205. Chuck Norris's birth name is Carlos Ray Norris. 205, just like Israel. You see this? And he gets the special Israel tribute on February 8th. When I started this study, I only knew about the two most basic methods, using the alphabetic order. But the more I studied, the more I learned, the more I realized other methods were relevant and very much part of the tributes. You know, Jewish gematria was the third method that I learned about, where I learned that no doubt it was interrelated. I showed this in a video I made earlier today. Let's just reinforce it one more time. We were talking about the destruction of the two temples. The date is known as Tisha B'Av. Tisha B'Av equals 911. Destruction of the two temples, 911. September 11th, the destruction of the two towers, 9/11. You see? Israel was here to document. They had foreknowledge. You know why? Because they always have foreknowledge. We are living out the Jewish Zionist planned agenda, a Masonic agenda. Here was also a headline from yesterday. See you in court. Donald Trump. See you in court. Has the gematria of 64 like synagogue of Satan. Again, these are numbers of Israel. Israel equals 64 using the alphabetic order. So does Zion. That's what it is. Zionism. Israel, the Zionist state. There's an occult religion called Thelema, which worships the number 93. In Thelema, you greet and say goodbye just by saying 93. Thelema's motto is do what thou wilt. Do what thou wilt. 64. Just like Synagogue of Satan, which is the name for the false Jews from Revelation, the final book of the Bible. Think about it. The United States of America, courts, legal system. Who runs it? And how corrupt is it? And to whose benefit is it? You know, if we lived in a legal nation with just courts that were about justice, don't you think there would have been justice for 9/11 a long time ago? See you in court. Go back to the Bible. Herod's court, the crucifixion of Jesus. Herod has the same gematria as America. One last thing I want to point out about Chuck Norris. He was born in 1940. In the reduced method, United States equals 40. So does Old Testament. The Old Testament, 39 books, 929 chapters. Look at this. United States of America, 929. 929 in Jewish gematria, like the 929 chapters. Nation of laws and lawyers. Look at what lawyer is. Lawyers 84. Again, like United States of America. You see? So many numerical riddles in our language, because this is what the language is based on. This is what the code's always been. So that's for you, Michael. Thanks for the question. Thanks for the reminder. Important people know these things. We should also mention that Chuck Norris is 76 years old. America established in 1776. America and Francis Bacon gematria sums to 76. Using the alphabetic order, America equals 50, like the 50 states. All right, Truth Seeker, until next time.